everybody. Chris Eads on the line is Wootini here with another Gay Gamer video podcast. This week I went to the movies to see Undertone, which is a new indie horror movie from A24. And A24 no longer has the cachet that I think it used to have, where it's like, ooh, A24, it's like indie quality, it's like super good. Because now they just buy all kinds of different movies, and some of them are not very good. I wanted to see this in the theater because I like to see horror movies in the theater because A, horror movies are better with an audience, and B, horror movies are also better in a very dark place with no interruptions, hopefully, and you just get sucked into it. Because watching them at home on your TV, it's not dark enough, there's plenty of distractions, so they can be not scary because you're too distracted. So focusing in a dark theater with an audience is the best way to do it. Also, the whole premise of Undertone is audio, so I wanted to see it in a proper theater surround sound situation, to get the full effect. Coming out your TV, it wouldn't be as effective. Because basically the premise, it's kind of like Paranormal Activity, but with audio instead of video. Because this girl and her friend do this podcast where they talk about spooky stuff. It's called The Undertone, hence the title of the film. And he got emailed these 10 audio files, and they go listen to them one by one, and they grow in intensity and craziness and scariness and whatever. And over the course of the days when they're listening to these audio files, she starts going loopy and things start being creepy around the house and everything because she's caring for her dying mother. And, things go awry because these audio files are haunted or whatever. So I will say that the audio is fantastic. And if you have any intention of seeing this, see it in the theater for the full effect. The lead actress, who is practically there's only two people on screen in this movie. There's her and her mother. Every other character is just a voice. You never see them. They're either on the phone or they're off camera. It's all her. It's her movie. And she's good. She's very good. However, while it is a slow burn that builds and builds, there's lots of creepy moments. The audio's great. And in fact, because there's lots of sections where she's just listening to something playing, the camera will pan to other things in the room or pan around and show you other things. And sometimes it's effective and creepy, and other times it's just sort of I don't see anything, what? But you gotta do something, otherwise you're just watching this girl listen to an audio file, which is not visually that interesting. The problem with it is that it does build, and the climax at the very end of the film is just fucking insanity. And I was like, holy shit, this is amazing. Oh my God. And then it just stops. And I'm like, wait, what? That's the end? What? So ultimately, I was let down. I was very impressed with what it was doing. All the audio is terrific. And it was intriguing. And then the ending was so bonkers insane. I was like, what is happening? And then it just stopped, and I was like, what? No, that's not an ending. What? So I was initially disappointed, and other people in the theater were like, what the fuck was that? It was stupid. After thinking about it and sleeping on it and letting it sit, I mind it less. And I'm intrigued to see when it comes up on Shudder, I'm going to try to watch it again. Hopefully I can get it to run through my surround sound system. And because I want to try it again, because I'm curious if, knowing that that's how it's going to end, if it'll be better. Because it was a letdown, because you're expecting something to happen, and then it stops, and you're like, wait, what? Because it's full of all this Catholic symbolism and whatever, and she's caring for her dying mother and stuff. But the story doesn't hold together. But as an unsettling hour and a half nightmare, it's quite effective. So if you are curious about it, I most everybody hates it. I recommend it with a caution, because you probably won't like it. But if you go into it knowing that it's just going to be like this audio nightmare, then it's fine. Don't expect a story that's going to like make sense and have a conclusion and be dramatically satisfying, because then you'll be very disappointed like I was. As for games, I actually played a little more Disney Dreamlight Valley this week, because I got to the point. I've been taking my time with the Star Path, and every time I try to take my time with the Star Path, I still end up finishing it early. Like this week, I got to the point where I did something and there were only 5 things left, and I was like, all right, we're almost done. Currently, right now, there's just 1 left. It's earning a bunch of coins, so I'm like this close to finishing it. I'll probably finish it today, later. But yeah, it's like almost done. But there's those routine duties for the next 2 or 3 weeks to make you keep coming back. So what I actually ended up doing was doing some Lady and Tramp friendship quests, just because, you know, they're both at max friendship, but I've got to finish their quests. And I kind of want that outfit that you get when you finish Tramps. So I'm like, okay. So I did a couple of those, and the Tramp one actually had that weird jigsaw puzzle thing that they added. I think there was one in the Lady and Tramp area, like in their world. But another one popped up when I was doing a Tramp friendship quest, and I actually was impressed with these jigsaw puzzles, because I was expecting them to be like super simple, but they're not. I mean, they're easy, but they're not like super easy. Like the one I did here was like, oh, okay, wait, where does that go? Oh, that goes here, that goes there, that goes there. Okay. You know, it only takes a couple of minutes, but it's not like what I was expecting with like, you know, zoop, 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 done, you know? So that was pleasant. So I think there's just a few more of those quests for them, and then I don't know, because I've basically maxed out their friendship, so I can't tell. Like, I'm not unlocking a quest as I go. They're all unlocked. But there's probably only like 3 or 4 left. We'll see. But I did play more of that than Infinity Nikki, because I did some side things, and I got that free outfit. So I'm like, okay, I have the free outfit, and now I'm good to go. So I was like, I don't really care about the rest of these things, the side quests and things. I was like, meh. So I was like, let me take a little break from Nikki, knowing that there's the second half of this update coming probably this week, and then I'll have more things to do. Because I've also been completely obsessed with Ghost of Yotei. I remain completely obsessed with it. Love it. However, I will say one thing. Like, I've been fine. I've been enjoying it. I've been doing all these quests and side quests and whatever. But one thing that I did notice was I was going after the Oni and the Oni raiders with their fire weapons and everything, and there was a quest, I did a main quest where you like break into his castle and you try to assassinate him, and then, spoiler alert, it fails, because you're going to have to do it again, and probably again before you actually do defeat him. It wasn't like hard, but like I didn't like, well, I did die actually, like escaping on my horse, because they kept shooting bombs at us, and like my health was down at the bottom, and it was like, heal, and I'm like trying to heal, and nothing was healing, and I'm like, can I not heal my horse? Oh dear. So I died, and I had to do that run through the bombs again. But overall, it wasn't like, oh my god, it's super hard. But it was like tricky enough that I was like, should I be doing this yet? Like, am I not ready for this? I don't know. So I actually went online just to see, because I did this with Star Wars Outlaws, where I was like, it opened up and it's like, which of the planets do you want to go to? And I'm like, I don't know. The game is kind of steering me this way, but I don't know. And so I looked online to see, like, is there an order in which you should be going after the Yotei 6? And basically the game is designed so that you can go after whoever, and it'll be fine. I guess they'll just, you know, the levels of the enemies will adjust dynamically depending on how powerful you are and what kind of armor and weapons you have. I don't know. So, but you're supposed to be able to do it in any order. And in fact, like I said, it wasn't that hard what I was doing. But sneaking into the castle was kind of a pain in the ass because it's pitch dark and there's no way to tell, like in other stealth games, where the enemies are. So I'm relying on my line of sight in the game, which is not great, especially at dark. And like at one point I turned the corner of a prison cage and there was an enemy guard right there, and I was like, "Wah!" And he was like, "What the?" And quickly I was able to assassinate him, so I didn't, I could quick go shh and have it be done. But still, that didn't appreciate that. I would like to be able to sense the enemies. And it turns out that you can, but not yet. You have to learn that special skill. Which makes sense. I was like, how do you have a stealth game where you can't sense the enemies? Like, that just does not make any sense. That makes it much more difficult. I guess it's more realistic, but it's not as much fun. So I was like, ugh. So it turns out a couple of websites were like, you could do them in any order, but you might be better off going after the kitsune first, because that'll lead you up into this northern section, and along that way you will encounter this master who will teach you the listen ability so that you can sense the enemies. And I'm like, thank you, I would very much like that. So I basically put pause on the Oni and started heading in the other direction towards the kitsune. Which led me to this. I found a dojo where this guy taught me the odachi, which is this giant two-handed sword that is supposed to be good against brutes, but it's not because they have the red unblockable attack that still knocks you down, so it's hard to get in a hit before they do that. But there's some skills that'll upgrade it, and then you can block those, and that'll be nice. So I look forward to that at some point, getting those. But I did that, and now I've worked my way north, and I found this Ainu village, and I did some quests with this woman, this old woman called Huchi. Not spelled like that, it's Huchi, but I'm still kind of working my way up, and doing various side quests up there, and it's nice, because as opposed to the Oni Raiders attacking you constantly, up here in the north, there's less like random attacks as you're exploring, which is pleasant. Not to say that there's not fights, but like I did those two Ainu quests with Uchi, and like there was no fighting involved in either of them. It was wonderful. It was just exploring and platforming, and it was fun. But I am trying to get this listen skill so that I can then do better stealth, because that's important. And I feel like it's weird that the designers put that skill all the way out there. It's also making me realize just how big this map is. It's a bit humongous. And I did also, after I finished the way of the Odachi, and I got my weapon, and he's like, all right, good luck to you. Come back for more training or whatever if you want. As I left, Atsu's like, I need to go and find the Oni. And I was just like, yeah, we're not doing that quest anymore. like, get over that. Like, we're not doing that right now. We'll go back to that later. We're doing this now. So, very much enjoying it. I just need to get this stealth skill, and then I feel like I'll be able to play it properly. I think there's still another weapon out there that I need to get, but I don't know what that is. But there's still a button on the weapon wheel that's empty. So I have to, it's not the Odachi, it's this something else, so we'll see. And I guess maybe I'll reveal what that is next week, maybe if I find out. I don't know, maybe I won't find out. Maybe that's a whole other section of this ginormous map. It's a lot bigger than I thought it was. So come back and find out. See you then. Bye!